Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a question lots of you might be asking, especially if you're considering a move. What does it really cost to live in Oklahoma?
Right. Is it that affordable place with the down-home feel people talk about?
Exactly. That place where you get community but still have,
Mm.
the shops and restaurants and ways to connect, maybe get more bang for your buck.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so to help us unpack this, we've been digging into insights from Oklahoma Realtor Josh Barnett. He's with eXp Realty. His YouTube videos pull together data from places like bestplaces.net.
Yeah, solid sources. Our goal today is really to give you a clear, realistic picture of the costs involved.
We want to pull out the most important bits of info, the surprising stuff maybe, to help you figure things out.
Precisely. We want to arm you with the details you need to make a really informed decision. See if Oklahoma actually fits your finances, your lifestyle.
Okay, let's jump in. Big picture first. How does Oklahoma stack up against the rest of the country, affordability-wise?
Well, this is where Oklahoma really shines, you could say. Its cost of living index is 83.7.
83.7. So compared to the national average of 100, that's pretty low.
It's very low, yeah. It consistently ranks as one of the most affordable states. You often see a colored, green on those affordability maps.
And what drives that low number?
It's driven by 7 major cost categories being below the national average. There's actually only one category that's higher.
Only one.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll definitely need to circle back to that one later. But that's a strong start.
It really is.
So thinking about affordability, the first thing most people think about is housing. It's usually the biggest slice of the pie, right?
Absolutely. And housing is arguably the biggest magnet pulling people towards Oklahoma. It's
Yeah.
super affordable.
You really get that bang for your buck you mentioned.
You really do. It makes things like owning a home or even getting a place with some land feel much more achievable for more people. It's not just a dream here.
Okay, let's get specific then. What kind of numbers are we talking about for median home prices?
Okay, so looking across the Oklahoma City metro area, a typical, say, 3-bed, 2-bath home with a 2-car garage averages around $260,000.
$260,000 for a 322 in the metro and statewide.
Statewide, the median for that same kind of house dips even lower, closer to $240,000.
Wow.
And then you have places like El Reno. Their median home price is actually less than $200,000.
Under 200,000.
Ah,
That's wild compared to the national median. What's that now, like 380K?
around $382,000, yeah. So a huge difference. And even if you look at newer homes in El Reno, like built 2010 or later, 322, maybe 1,500 square feet or more, the average is still only about $257,000. Still very competitive.
It really puts it in perspective. You mentioned getting more for your money, maybe even acreage.
Definitely. The average house cost in Oklahoma City itself is about $198,000. Think about that compared to the national average, over $400,000.
It just opens up possibilities.
It does. Like, you could start looking at homes with some acreage and maybe a workshop or a shop starting around $400,000, pretty close to OKC.
Okay.
Or if you're okay with a commute, say an hour, hour and a half out, or maybe you work remotely and can get good internet,
Right. That's correct.
you could potentially find something like 40 acres with a house and a shop for under $500,000. It just changes the equation of what's possible.
That's a massive difference. Okay, so housing is clearly a huge draw. What about day-to-day stuff, like putting food on the table, groceries?
Groceries are another area where Oklahoma costs less. They come in at 92.3% of the national average, so below average.
Okay.
And there's been a really interesting positive development recently. A bill passed to get rid of the state grocery tax.
Oh, wow. So that's direct savings.
Yep. A straight 4% savings on your grocery bill. So if you spend, say, $1,000 a month on groceries.
Which isn't hard to do for a family.
Right. That's $40 extra in your pocket each month. Or, almost $500 a year, $480.
That's not insignificant. That definitely adds up. Do we know what a typical family might spend?
Well, one example given was a family of 5. They also had 2 dogs, 6 chickens, and they focused on organic and gluten-free stuff.
Okay, so maybe higher than average spending habits.
Potentially. Their spending was around $400 a week, so somewhere between $1,000 and $1,400 a month. And that includes pet food, paper goods, everything.
Right.
And for convenience, especially if you're in OKC, you've got grocery delivery options like Amazon Whole Foods, Kroger. They're pretty common.
So you might not even need to drive for groceries all the time.
Exactly. Saves time, saves gas.
Okay, let's shift gears to utilities, those monthly bills that just keep coming. What should people expect, especially with Oklahoma weather?
Mm.
Hot summers, cold winters.
Yeah, utilities are generally right around the national average. The index is 99.7%. So
Okay.
pretty much on par.
But on par might hide some details, right? Like seasonal swings.
That's the key thing to understand here, yeah. The seasonal variations
Hmm.
and the specific costs.
So like water, trash, sewer, what does that look like?
In Oklahoma City, you're probably looking at roughly $65 to $85 a month for those combined. That might include recycling if you're in the city proper.
Get outside the city. Rural areas.
Might be a bit higher, maybe closer to $100, especially if you have a larger family or need a bigger trash bin like a dumpster. In El Reno, though, a typical household is probably looking at less than $100 a month for water, trash, and sewer.
Okay. Now the big ones. Electricity and natural gas. Those weather extremes must impact the bills.
Oh, absolutely. You have to budget for spikes. Summer, June, July, August, your electric bill can easily jump. Heavy AC use, right?
Right. How high are we talking?
Could hit $200, maybe even $300 in those peak months. It's a significant jump from the milder months.
Oof. Okay. And then winter. Gas bills.
Yep, flip side, December, January, February.
Mm-hmm.
Your natural gas bill for heating will be highest then. Maybe around $100 compared to much less the rest of the year.
And are these costs stable?
Well, actually, it's worth noting that both gas and electric costs have been creeping up, maybe by about $15 a month over the last couple of years. Part of that is linked to some severe winter freezes we've had recently, so it's a bit of a moving target.
Good to know. Okay, what about staying connected? Internet, phones?
Internet in the city, you often see intro rates from providers like Cox, maybe $85 to $100 a month.
But those intro rates don't last, do they?
No, they usually go up after a year or so.
Yeah.
Might jump to $100, $135 maybe. AT&T is another big player with good service.
Any other options? Like 5G or fiber?
Yeah, T-Mobile has 5G home internet for around $70 a month, and fiber is definitely available in Oklahoma, which is great for speed.
What about rural areas? That could be tricky.
It can be. You might find line-of-sight internet where you need a clear view to a tower. Speeds might be something like 30 down, 4.5 up. Starlink is also becoming a viable option, around $100 a month for maybe 20 up.
And the state is trying to improve rural broadband.
Yes, there's actually a state bill actively pushing and incentivizing broadband expansion across Oklahoma, so connectivity should keep getting better.
Good. And phones. Quick estimate.
Cell plan for 2 phones, unlimited data, maybe $120 a month with Verizon, could be closer to $185 with AT&T, depends on the plan.
Okay. Now, Oklahoma is a big state, fairly spread out. Transportation seems crucial. What are the costs there?
Transportation costs are actually quite affordable. They're at 89.2% of the national average, so definitely a plus.
You probably need a car, right?
Hmm?
It's not known for being walkable.
That's the crucial
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, Oklahoma's walkability score is low, only 34%. So for most people, especially outside of maybe downtown OKC, owning a car, maybe even 2 cars, is pretty much a necessity.
Okay, so if you need a car, what about running costs? Maintenance, gas, insurance?
Maintenance seems reasonable, like a big 100,000-mile service oil change, tire rotation, filters, fluids check might be around $120.
Okay.
A basic oil change plus a couple of new tires, maybe under $300. More comprehensive stuff on a family car could be around $500.
And gas prices. You'd think an oil state would have cheaper gas.
Generally, yes. It tends to be less expensive than the national average. When the source videos were made, regular was about $4.12 a gallon. So filling up a small tank, maybe 11 gallons, would be $30 to $50.
Okay. Insurance and tags.
Auto insurance can vary a lot, obviously, but one example given was for 3 cars, a commuter car, a family car, an old truck, around $350 a month total.
And the annual tax. Vehicle registration tax.
Pretty low. Maybe $30 for an older truck, roughly $100 each for newer cars. It's not a huge annual hit.
You mentioned downtown OKC as a possible exception to needing a car.
Right. That's a fascinating point. If you specifically choose to live right in downtown Oklahoma City, where there's better public transit, more walkability, and you use grocery delivery, you could genuinely save a lot, potentially even get rid of car ownership costs entirely. That's a huge potential budget swing for that specific lifestyle choice.
Interesting. Okay, beyond the monthly stuff, what about those bigger annual costs? Property taxes and homeowners insurance. How do they fit in?
Property taxes. This is interesting. They can be remarkably low. Especially in some rural counties like Lincoln or Hughes County, you might pay as little as $1,200 a year.
$1,200 a year? That's incredibly low.
It is, but this is but it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah, okay. Where are they higher?
If you're in areas with highly rated school districts, often more affluent areas like Deer Creek or Nichols Hills near OKC, The property taxes can be much, much higher, comparable to expensive places like Las Vegas even.
Really? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, like a $500,000 house in the Deer Creek School District could easily have annual property taxes of $7,500.
Wow. Okay. So a huge range depending on location and schools. Good to know.
Definitely something to research based on where you're looking.
And homeowners insurance. You hear about Oklahoma weather, tornadoes, hail. Does that impact insurance?
It absolutely does, and unfortunately, this is an area where Oklahoma is expensive.
Expensive. How expensive?
Along with Kansas, Oklahoma has some of the highest homeowners insurance costs in the entire U.S., primarily because of, yeah, frequent wind and hailstorms.
That makes sense. What kind of cost are we talking?
Well, just as a benchmark, a standard roof repair on a 1,500 square foot house is estimated around $12,500. So the risk is real.
Right. For insurance premiums.
For, say, a $200,000 home, you might be looking at around $2,250 per year for homeowners insurance.
Okay, that's substantial.
It is. And another tip here, watch out for low introductory rates. They might jump up significantly after the first year. It's really important to shop around for homeowners insurance annually in Oklahoma.
Good advice. Okay, so we've covered a lot of the living costs,
Right.
many quite favorable. But affordability is only half the story, right? What about income? The job market, wages.
That's a really crucial piece of the puzzle. Oklahoma generally has a strong job market, good unemployment numbers. You'll often see hundreds of state government jobs, listed, for example, maybe 500, 600 openings.
Sounds positive.
But the wages often don't match what you might earn in higher cost of living states. Think California, Washington, Illinois, New York.
So there's a trade-off. Lower cost, but potentially lower pay.
Exactly. It's a key trade-off. For instance, someone earning, say, $120,000 in California might find a comparable job in Oklahoma pays closer to $80,000.
Because the cost of living adjustment is factored in.
Essentially, yes. So when you're looking at job opportunities or planning a move, you absolutely have to factor in that potential wage adjustment. It affects your overall financial picture significantly.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Okay, what about enjoying life? Dining out, entertainment, is that affordable too?
Generally, yes. Eating out seems pretty reasonable. In OKC, a nice sit-down dinner for two, maybe an appetizer, main courses like chicken fried chicken or chimichangas, water, tip, but no alcohol could be around $50.
$50 for two, that's pretty good for a city.
Yeah. And in smaller towns, like El Reno again, a movie ticket might be about $7. A good local double meat hamburger around $6. Pretty affordable treats.
What about other recreation? Parks, museums, things to do?
Oklahoma City actually offers a ton of free stuff to do. Lots of great parks. Scissortail Park, Lake Stanley Draper, Lake Hefner, the Myriad Botanical Gardens. The Bricktown Canal Walk is nice.
Free is always good.
Definitely. Plus, plenty of free tennis courts, dog parks, walking trails, even BMX trails. Lots of ways to get outside without spending money.
And paid attractions.
It's also pretty reasonably priced, mostly. A family trip to the zoo might be around $50, not including food. The Historical Museum isn't too pricey. The Wheeler Ferris wheel is just $5 a person.
Okay, any pricier options?
Maybe something like the Cowboy Hall of Fame could be a bit more, potentially closer to $100 for a family of four. But overall, lots of affordable recreational options.
Okay, we've covered almost everything. Housing, food, utilities, transport, lifestyle, mostly below or near the national average. But you mentioned one category was above average.
Right. There is one significant expense where Oklahoma costs more than the national average.
And that is?
That's healthcare. Unfortunately, healthcare costs in Oklahoma are higher. The index is 115.18%.
Over 15% higher than the national average. Wow. Why is that, and what does it mean practically?
Well, practically, a new patient checkup might cost around $140 even with insurance, maybe $100, $120 if you pay cash. Basic lab tests at a private facility could be $150 to $180.
So, noticeably higher costs for routine care.
Yeah.
Any idea why it's higher?
Some sources point to a couple of factors. Oklahoma ranks quite high in obesity rates, fourth highest state, around 36.8% obesity.
Okay.
And we already mentioned the low walkability score, 34%. So potentially related to overall population health metrics contributing to higher systemic costs.
So the advice might be stay healthy.
Pretty much. Prioritize your health, join a gym, jog, whatever works for you. It could literally save you money on healthcare costs here. But it also means really scrutinizing health insurance options when you move.
Are there any exceptions, groups that might have lower costs?
Yes, there are. Combat veterans often have access to VA care, and Native Americans, depending on their specific tribal affiliation and their degree of Native American blood, may be eligible for lower cost or even free medical care through tribal health services or Indian health service.
That could be a really significant saving for those individuals or families.
Absolutely. It's a specific factor, but an important one for those it applies to.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together. We've done this deep dive into the cost of living in Oklahoma. What's the final takeaway for someone listening, someone maybe considering that move?
I think the big takeaway is that Oklahoma genuinely offers substantial affordability across most of the major expense categories. Housing is the huge one, obviously, but
Right.
also groceries, transportation, they're all significantly cheaper than average.
Which can mean real savings, maybe a different quality of life for the same money.
Exactly. Your money can potentially go a lot further here. You might achieve lifestyle goals like home ownership or having more disposable income that are harder to reach elsewhere.
But it's not universally cheap. There are nuances.
Definitely. You have to weigh the positives against things like the potentially lower wages compared to high-cost states. You need to budget for those utility spikes. And critically, you need to factor in the higher-than-average healthcare costs and insurance.
And the variable property taxes and that expensive homeowner's insurance.
Right. It's about seeing the whole picture, the pluses and the minuses.
So the final question for you, the listener, is really about balance, isn't it?
It is. As you think about all these factors, you need to ask, which costs matter most to your specific situation, to your priorities, and how could you maybe leverage Oklahoma's affordability in areas like housing to build the kind of financial future and lifestyle you're looking for?